Hello guys and gals, me Mudahar. In today's video I'm going to tack on with a little sponsor call. Please don't follow whatever words you hear in this video. I usually have to bring that sponsor on when you're about to hear some really outlandish, stupid things. What you're about to hear in this video that I'm commenting on from another person is some of the most insane bullshit that you have ever heard. Do not follow any advice from the individual you are about to see, because it might land you in some hot water and throw you down a rabbit hole that you don't want to go down. Now, TikTok, like most social media, crack dens, are filled with individuals like pickup artists, people who have the grasp on the female mind. And I hate to use terms like this, but we're going to have to look into it like incel stuff later on. So today's video is Women Are Not Real. Now, this blows my mind like an M. Night Shyamalan movie, okay? It slaps me harder than my dad does on report card day. Because I used to think that women were like, the other half to making me. My mom was a woman. Apparently, she ain't real. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an 11-minute affair. I'm only going to cover what I think are the main points. And beyond that, we're going to move on and talk about the actual issue at hand.
Women are the physical manifestation of sensory perception. And in the same sense that when your senses are overloaded in any particular way, whether they're overloaded with pleasure or overloaded with pain, if your senses keep receiving that same stimulus over and over, you are not going to have...
What the fuck? What is this? What? It's like, ladies and gentlemen, I had to play the 20 seconds because the introduction, I swear to God, I've listened to it like 4 times. It's like when a pseudo-intellectual comes out and tells you, tries to act smart by using buzzwords. I have no idea what they're going with. This whole entire word salad didn't really make a lot of sense.
In this same sense, being that women are the physical manifestations of this phenomenon, that is why women's value must be preserved. They can't be trusted to handle anything of greater responsibility, anything of greater importance than daily household chores and taking care of babies. Not taking care of children, taking care of babies.
Ooh, that's gonna be a hot take right here. So you heard it right here. Apparently the women that are watching this, according to this fellow right here, the only thing you're good for are basic household tasks and taking care of babies, not children. Taking care of babies. Why not children? Let's figure it out.
Because once babies turn into children, that's when the psychological development comes into place, which far exceeds the capabilities that women are able to provide for the child.
Oh man, here we got the psychology degrees coming out. I've watched enough of this content to kind of understand that when psychology is brought up, it's so haphazardly used that it's not even funny. So yeah, according to this guy, women, when those kids grow up just beyond baby mode, when they stop screaming and crying and they can walk and run around, at that point, the ability for you to raise them, it's out of your psychological control. Again, I don't know if these people believe that women are just like pod people or something, but it almost goes against like those traditional roles that some of these people espouse too. So it's a weird situation hearing it. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I think at this point you can probably click off the video and realize, yeah, we're in for some bullshit.
But going back to the value preservation, women's value has to be preserved while a man's value has to be created. Women are born with inherent value, men are born with no value, or next to no value.
You hear that, women? You're born with the ascribed status, apparently, according to this guy. Men, no value whatsoever you're born with. Now, I want to see him say this to some Saudi prince with oil money. I wonder if that would go across well. I mean, that person's born with value, that's for sure. But no, in general, I look at this entire argument, and it's very easily debunked, because if you have some semblance of real-world experience, you'll know that when anybody's born, they usually have no value. When you grow up, when you go through your teenage years, especially into your adult years, what you achieve with your life, or how you present yourself is really what you're achieving, right? Like this whole alpha grind set, this whole like beta sigma bullshit that these kind of terminologies derive from. I like to think that anybody who wants to be an alpha or somebody that's beyond the pack, I guess, so do these people claim, it doesn't really require you to be born with anything. If you want to be attractive to anybody beyond, or you want to have any value to the world, you have to earn that value, okay? Whether that's achieving something in your studies or making yourself look better or having a bunch of wealth, I think that's the general idea. Anybody can get that if they put in the hard work and the effort for it. And of course, there's a bit of luck involved, as anything in life. But in reality, this idea of like, men, you have no value. Look, I'm going to say no one has any value, okay? You have to earn your value. It's how the world works.
Born with the potential for value. That's why when you see a young woman who hasn't done anything with her life, nobody's going to look down on her if she doesn't want to go to college or if she doesn't want to work. Nobody's going to think less of her for not wanting to do those things. Whereas they definitely will look down on a young man who doesn't want to go to college and doesn't want to work and doesn't want to improve himself.
You mean neat? Dog, I'm sure no matter what gender you are, if you're somebody that just sits around at home wasting away the days, people in society are going to look down on you. There are probably just as much women right now who are doing fuck all with their lives, probably being looked down upon, same way as guys are, okay? If you're a degen that contributes nothing to society, people will look down upon you, okay?
Women are born with inherent value. It can't actually be increased in the same way that a man's can. Men's value is based on what they've done and the type of person that they've turned themselves into, what kind of value they've brought into the community in which they're living or into the larger society. But a woman's value is not based on that. The reason a woman has inherent value is because her value is based on her fertility. To put it bluntly, that's what it's based on. Women's value is based on their fertility. That's why it's in the best interest of a woman not to waste her inherent value and try to lock down a high value man or a man who looks like he's on his way to becoming high value.
Ah, you hear that, ladies? Apparently, according to this fella, your fertility is what just derides all of your value. Men, I was making this point like a minute ago, basically. I was telling you about how much your value derives from what you bring to the table. Now, I have to imagine this completely discounts the fact that women go to college, university, get careers, do something with their life. Basically, as I was stating earlier, it kind of treats women like they're fucking pod people at the end of the day, with no greater thinking than making babies. It's like the worst take that you can ever make, and completely discounts the mental faculties of an entire group of people. Like, where do you end up? Who hurts you this bad that this is how you end up thinking? Come on now.
Like I said, the more experiences, whether positive or negative, that a woman goes through decreases her value because women cannot handle the stresses or the pleasures of life. The more stress she goes through, the more she sees the world as nothing more than a negative place.
Ah, the more stress that woman goes through, the more she sees the world as a negative place. See, the more stimulation you provide, apparently, in this person's eyes to a woman, the less inherent value she has. I'm gonna have to jump in and say, hey guys, if the world is fucking jading you and giving you a fuck ton of negative emotions, guy or gal or anything in between, you're probably going to have a negative fucking perception of life. I'm just saying what it is, alright? God damn. It's like, I have to understand, like, does this person have any respect for who their mother is, like, at the end of the day? Or is their mother also another pod person that's only service in the world is to clean up the house and give babies? Like, is that what's going on here? Like, the entire perception these people have of literally 50% of the other human race is fucking baffling, dude.
If something doesn't excite them enough, then it's not a good thing. If something stresses them out too much, then it's also not a good thing. Everything has to be new, everything has to be fresh, everything has to be exciting all the time, 100% of the time, otherwise it's bad.
Wait, you're telling me people crave new experiences every day? People want something new? People don't want to slip into mediocrity? I don't really get the point that's trying to be made over here. Like, why is it that only women want new experiences? I'm pretty sure guys themselves also want new experiences as well. It really comes back to that point that I made earlier. When you look at when you look at all the points these people bring up, they can very easily be applied to human beings in general. I think everyone craves new experiences. I don't think anybody likes slipping in to mediocrity or the mundane.
They interpret the quality of reality through the type of sensory input they're receiving. That's why girls don't work out. You ever wonder why the vast majority of women don't work out? They're fortunate enough to be born with a nice looking body, and then it just wastes away. They don't work out. They could preserve their body a little bit by working out, but that's why. It's because it hurts. Working out hurts. And since women only interpret the world through sensory perception, anything that hurts is a bad thing. They can't handle it. They literally can't handle working out.
Oh man, dude, we are getting baited. This whole thing is bait. This guy has to be a mega troll, ladies and gentlemen. Where's the scientific analysis over here? Yeah, you hear about that? Most women don't have to work out. Have you been to a gym lately, dude? It's just as many women in there as there are men. People work out. The body can waste regardless of your gender, okay? Look, I don't work out as much as I should. I'm wasting away. I'm a fat, chubby Indian, all right? At the end of the day, people work out or they don't. I've dated people that have worked out excessively. I mean, they look good, but that's because they put in the hours that they have to just so they can look that good. The idea that women are born just all hot and like all skinny and all like, all built and, they're the perfect figures is kind of a little baffling. At this point, this shit has to be trolling. There ain't no way this has to be bait, ladies and gentlemen. Come on. Where is the science here? Where is the actual logic? His whole pain argument kind of falls flat onto itself if you've taken like a 4th grade biology class, because you have to realize for him and me to be existing on this planet, and all of you, our moms have to go through a significant investment of pain to make that happen. Now, as a guy, I am thankful every day. Look, I praise God every day that I don't have the ability to go through that, because I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't understand baby fever. Like, I get having kids is a very rewarding experience, but that amount of pain that you have to sit through, that amount of pushing, that entire moment is something that I don't think I could do, man. I mean, bottoms up to the ladies out there. If you're able to go through that or you have kids, that's a significant investment of pain. And you yourself are disproving this guy's statements right here.
When a woman goes through too many negative experiences, she's not able to renew herself because women are not as connected to God. They're not able to refresh themselves psychologically. They're not able to detach themselves from the material world. And don't let their astrology fool you either. All this crystals, all the chakra, the healing bullshit, there's no such thing as chakras. There's no such thing as crystals, lighting incense. All of that is still sensory. There's no divine presence there. It's still, just because it makes them feel good doesn't mean that there's a divine presence there.
Your fairy tales are more real than my fairy tales is all I heard in that scenario. So ladies and gentlemen, this whole point I wanted to include because it's really one of those situations where this guy goes off rail, like he derails his entire point. Now, to understand, these kind of videos are built with just hopping from BS point to another BS point and hoping that the person watching will eventually start believing in whatever BS you're spousing. So I have no idea why the divine is brought into it. I think that there's just as many guys and girls. I think there's just as many human beings that are into the divine as they are not into the divine. I don't think your gender has anything to do with your connection to the Lord above. But I guess, we had to find a point out somewhere, right? God damn.
But in the same sense that negative experiences traumatized them in a way that cannot be recovered from, so do pleasure experiences. If a woman has the best sex of her life with a guy, she will never be able to enjoy another man again. It has to stay at that high level. You ever wonder why
Oh, no. I think we found the needle in the haystack there, Nostradamus. Yeah, if the woman has the best sex of her life, she's gonna want that for the rest of the day. Ooh, if somebody broke this person's heart, somebody broke your heart, my friend. I'm sorry for that. It's one of those things where, like, this is another big aspect of this type of, like, culture, where I guess, like, immediately in their head is, like, apparently you gotta have a certain amount of inches to be able to pleasure, okay? I'll be honest with you, buckos, alright? I'm a small guy, alright, in every capacity. Yet I've never had that problem in my life. I can freely admit it. I mean, at the end of the day, I can be 13-inch Muda, okay? I'm comfortable being 13-millimeter Muda, and that's pretty much where the story is gonna lie down, okay? Alright, at the end of the day, it don't really matter. But I mean, hey, listen, I have to imagine the heart got broken. Somehow some girl left this guy for another individual, and that's pretty much where it ended. And I'm going to just say what I say to every other guy. There are plenty of fish in the sea, homie. You're only like 20 years old from what I see in this video. You have an entire life ahead of you. Don't let one bad relationship sour the next several relationships, okay?
Divorce courts favor women. It's because the objective is to maintain the woman's lifestyle. No attention is given to the man's lifestyle. Nobody gives a single fuck about men, okay? Just for you guys.
Actually, this is the only point in the video that I will absolutely agree with. So he talks about divorce court. Now he talks about how unfair it is. Yeah, if you've ever seen divorce court, it is the most unfair shit imaginable. Like, for fuck's sake. If you've ever seen like alimony payments for like celebrities, like fucking, I think it was Brendan Fraser that had to pay like a crap ton of cash. Like, I think it was like $70,000. It could be a little bit more than that. Some obscene amount a month just in child support and alimony payments, which are far beyond what you need for a kid. And I mean, shit, if you're just the general breadwinner in that entire relationship, like you make the most money and you go to a court like that and you get divorced and the argument is against you in your favor, yeah, trust me, it's going to be terribly financially for you. And, you know, in this situation, it's like, yeah, a broken clock is right twice a day or something, right? Like, you can totally understand that. I've heard even if you get, like, prenuptials or, like, paperwork signed, that can even be annulled to an extent. Like, at the end of the day, getting married is, like, really scary, okay? Like, you really better trust the other person, because if it goes south, that shit goes south.
And I do mean 100. You guys don't realize how utterly abundant women's sex options are. Most women's sex options, from even for average girls, are through the roof. And it's because of the dynamic. Men are the ones who are supposed to approach the women. Therefore, women are naturally going to have more options. It just makes it seem like that. That's why women's egos are through the roof. That's why the moment they don't get this attention, they go fucking nuts. Because it's been that way their entire lives. That's why women can't acknowledge that they do have it easier in life. That's why women can't acknowledge the privileges they have in life, because it's been a part of their life their entire lives.
Ah, so you understand that? Ladies and gentlemen, women, you just have way more options out there. This is one thing that I honestly fail to understand. Look, I'm a fat, ugly Indian guy, all right? You know how many times I've been on dating apps and every single girl that I've ever messaged is probably so used to hearing the words bobs and vaginy and remove cloth that my dating options online are pretty limited. And in reality or online, I can still manage to make things work. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. If a fat, chubby, Indian guy like me, an ugly looking dude like me can make it work, you can make it work too. The idea that, like, yeah, maybe it's a lot easier for women to go out, you know, maybe that does exist. I will definitely say that to an extent. Maybe that is sort of a thing. Like, I guess if you haven't seen the world, socially you're conditioned to believe that guys go out first. But I'm going to say from personal experience, it happens both ways. Sometimes I've went out first. Sometimes girls have approached me. And I'm going to tell you right now too, there's been plenty of times where I've rejected girls too, okay? This whole notion that, like, these people come across and find somebody new in their life, or they come to them, or whatever, vice versa. These entire scenarios play out the same way. There's plenty of rejection that goes on either side. The key to the entire rejection angle is not letting it determine the rest of your belief set in life. Now, I'm going to leave that where it is. I'm probably going to cut out a chunk of this video simply due to the fact it's gone on for way too long, but this is like where it gets into like incel related culture, and like I hate using the term incel because I think like the issue is a bit more nuanced than you would think. So anyways, all right, skipping all these definitions and terminologies aside, I think the real thing that I want to talk about in this video is, like, guys, gals, okay, it's easy to make fun of these people, all right, 100%, 1000%. This guy's take was the worst take that I've ever heard, all right, one of the worst takes. And this is why I don't really jump into these kind of TikToks or YouTubes, and I even hate covering them due to the fact that there's so many of them, and they're so full of bullshit, it's not even funny. But when you look into situations like these, it's easy to laugh at these individuals and make fun of them and, you know, just walk away from that. But genuinely, I've seen a lot of people just like constantly jumping in and constantly dogpiling, and what happens is you just sort of reinforce their shitty behavior. Like, yeah, sure, you can laugh at them and throw them off and get them banned off platforms, but then they're just going to come back and be 10 times worse than before. I think what we really need to talk about is this idea of like incel culture, or the idea of like people who have just inherently less self-worth than they really should. Because at the end of the day, every time that I see this, I literally see poor self-worth. These people are so focused on superficial aspects, and they're so focused on using these psychological, like, fucking, you know, throwaways in order to basically explain away anytime they've gotten rejected, anytime they've gotten their heart broken. Look, ladies and gentlemen, okay, your heart's gonna get broken. Relationships aren't gonna work. Sometimes when you go out and manifest the courage to ask a girl out, she might say no, all right? She has the right to say no. But you know what happens at that point? You write that off, you chalk it off, and maybe the next day is more favorable to you, okay? Like I said in the beginning, like I've said throughout this video, there are billions of people in this world, billions of women in this world who are eligible to go out with you. Yes, Everyone has a right to reject one another. Like I said, I've rejected plenty of people from time to time in my life. And I would hope to God that I haven't created an incel woman in some capacity. Someone who got rejected by me and decided to hate all men because of it. And the same thing can be said for you guys. It's fucking embarrassing when you get rejected on, or you get shat on, or someone cheats on you, or someone breaks your heart. Look, it sucks. It happens. I've had my heart broken. I've been cheated on. And at the end of the day, the reason why this topic sticks out the most to me is I would say years upon years ago, I felt that I was jumping down into this rabbit hole for a second, and I immediately had to slap myself in the face and get my shit together. All I can tell you is if this is how you feel in life, you have to stop. You have to stay away from finding somebody, and you have to learn how to treat yourself with respect, get a better perception of yourself, do something successful in life, and in that turn, it'll be a lot more healthy and better for you than turning into this kind of a weird pre-misogynist, or sorry, in this case, I would say a fucking full-on misogynist, and ruining the future of your life in some capacity. So yeah, this is where I'm going to end it. I know this video got kind of a little heavy at the end of it, but this is a topic that I've always had festering in my head, and I feel like I wanted to have the perfect moment to finally get it out, and I think this guy's video was the true catalyst to that. So hopefully it made you laugh, hopefully it made you learn something. Ladies and gentlemen, this is me, Mudahar, and if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. I am out.